Alright, what's up everybody? My name is Jacintho. I'm a senior, studying physical therapy, working at the hospital right now. The illustrious Morgan State University, HBCU, baby. Feel me? Initially, if you get slapped, what you gonna do? Slap somebody back. You feel me? You can break it down to most simplest terms in elementary school, where you have the schoolyard bully. That bully gonna keep bullying you until you stand up and at least push back, or at least fight back. So that's a first initial response. Really let them know how we feel. Type of approach, the more subtle, the more willing to sit down and have a conversation. Because I feel like for the most part, bro, if we keep smashing up stuff outside, it's just going to turn the relationship between the police and the people worse. It's gonna be worse. They're gonna look at us as more of a threat. They're gonna look at us as people that will not listen and will not take to authority. So they're gonna be less willing to work out the situation and more willing to put hands on people just straight off the bat. You feel me? So I don't know. I feel like we need to split it up though, man. We need to split it up. Right now, you got your pawns out there. It's like playing chess. You got your pawns out there moving first. Busting up stuff. Doing whatever they got to do. Then it's going to have to follow with the politicians, the people that's going to be in the room changing the policy. You feel me? Like, all right, well, how are these cops getting trained? Why do cops have to go through 8 months, under a year training before they get a gun and a badge and can be the decision maker between life and death? Nah, that need to be changed. I feel like the shot callers, the elites, I feel like they're trying to maintain a power. They're doing everything they can to keep people under control. Um, their reactions now are going to be what we see from what we do. I feel like they have been making a lot of bad decisions lately, as far as putting the puppets in positions for politics, like Donald Trump and all the politicians. We understand that we can vote for them, but they're going to select who they want, in my opinion, at least. Um, so they have been having these poor strings of decisions up until now. Right now, the ball is in our court. We the ones that are kind of running this show right now, as far as all the protests, all the disruption, all the destruction. We're the ones running that now. That's just raw emotion. Right now, I feel like they're in between a rock and a hard place because they're losing money with this pandemic globally. You feel me? The healthcare system is poor, and then people are not getting better still. So we don't know when we're gonna open up. And now you got people wilding out now. Not listening to authority. They don't care about anything now. So they're gonna be having to make some real tough decisions soon, man. Real tough decisions. Cause what you gonna do? Let the people wild out with no jobs? We already got a meat shortage. So I don't think they're the ones that's creating this environment, but I do think they are the ones that are responsible through negligence and through their own ideologies, man. Oh man, many conversations. I'm talking about like when I can track that back to when I was young. Oh, when the police talk to you, they're gonna ask you for your name. Don't do too much moving. Keep your hands out your pockets. I'm talking about to a point where I had to rehearse these things with my parents. Where immediately I see a cop, immediately I'm freezing up. Immediately, because I'm thinking that if I move too much, I'm gonna be the suspect. You feel me? I'm gonna be the part of the situation. Um, Even with being on the road and stuff like that, like everybody has those conversations with their parents when they get the license. When you get pulled over, get your license and registration, have it so you can get it and you're not fumbling around. As a minority though, well, let's go more specific. As a African American male, we have to be more careful of how we move and how we teach our children to move. So, yo, it's to a point where like your parents are gonna drill that into your head as much as possible, but you're not really gonna figure it out until your first encounter with the police officer, because all the stuff that they taught me before flew out the window the first time I had a police approach my car with his gun drawn, pointing right at me. The whole nother situation. You got to move differently. You got to talk real clear. You feel me? Don't do all that fumbling and all that. You need to know who is in your car, what they got in your car, all that stuff. Um, so it's just the fear emotion, I would say, that distorts that message. But man, been a staple of our community for years, man. Mom, grandma, dad, granddad, all of them have had those conversations. Have spoken those conversations to other people. Man, it's so ingrained in our culture that it's like an innate fear we have. You see lights, you see little kids freeze. You feel me? That's something we got to change though. That's something because we speak of it as we speak of it as the boogeyman. You feel the cop. You got to be careful. Don't. They're supposed to be protecting us. Why are we teaching our kids how to? Why are we teaching our kids to fear cops? We shouldn't fear any police officer. Don't fear anybody that protects you. The message I would give to my kids: how to deal with police. You first and foremost have to deal with them as a human being. You gotta let them know I recognize you, I respect you, but I demand respect as well. I'm an intellectual being that can have clear conversation with you and get this business handled without any ignorance or force applied. Um, so with my kids, man, I don't know, like that message alone should be able to drag them through a conversation or a situation with a police officer. When you're dealing with the police officers we have now, we have to add a little asterisk on the end. If it does get physical, and it's likely to get physical, if you judge by the numbers, we're only third of the national population, but we have majority of the violent interactions with police officers. That don't make no sense. It's like 12-1 or something like that. Um, if it does get physical, then you gotta protect yourself. I'm not saying swing back on the police, but if you feel the need to swing back in order to defend yourself, swing back. I'm not going to say run, because if you run, you already know first thing they're going to go for is their gun. They already got their hand in their gun. Their gun is out the holster majority of the time already by the time they approach you. So you got to be real careful. You have to be real careful nowadays. You tell them to defend themselves, it's nothing for a cop to kill somebody and then be let go for it because that person was striking back. It's self-defense. You can kill in self-defense as a police officer. Um, you just got to be careful. You just got to be careful, bro. Both. Both. I'm going to start off with the talk racism. You do have parents that will instill those ideologies, those racist ideologies into their kids. They will teach them, oh, this is black, this is white. Black is bad and evil. White is good and pure. Look at the dictionary. Look at the good and evil side. So you have those lessons being taught to the children. They will have sit-down conversations about certain groups of people. Because when you sit down with your child, it's your responsibility to explain life to them. You know what I mean? Put it in words where they understand it, and you understand your child. So you got to be able to put it in words where it's going to go through to their heads to understand. On the other side, when I say it's not taught, it's competition. Survival of the most fit. The first law of nature is the preservation of self. You're going to make sure you got yours, your family got yours, and your people got yours. Everybody else come next. That's what it is. That's just nature. You don't see the birds dropping acorns to squirrels. You know what I mean? If anything, you're going to see that squirrel hop in that bird feeder and then shoo all them birds away, eating the seeds. Collecting for him and his own family. Ooh. I would say, first thing that comes to mind is the news coverage of the CNN break-in, right? They bust the windows down, and then you can see the crowd. You see the protest. The police lined up with their shields and all that. Yeah. Then you see the protesters as they approach. They all got masks on, but you see different colors. I feel like a lot of times they try to put the picture of a protester into the picture of like black people. These thugs, these gangsters. They use these words, this jargon. But when you say thugs and gangsters, we already know who you're talking about. Thankfully, this situation is not all of us. When I was watching the other day, they got a guy with a skateboard. White guy with a skateboard. Just banging in the window. But he was leading this whole situation. So that is a positive thing for me. Right now, it can be looked in a negative light. Oh yeah, they busted down CNN, they destroying stuff. People got jobs they got to go back to. I understand that. But Now that they they done bust down your door, now they done smashed all your windows. Now you know better than to disrespect these people. You know, if I disrespect them, it's a consequence. If I put this news story that's calling these peaceful protesters gangsters and thugs, and damning them to being treated like a criminal, you know what I mean? There's gonna be repercussions, and that needs to be said because I feel like a lot of these news stations, the way they introduce stories, the way they talk about people, it frames the perspective of the world. I'm not even gonna say the nation because we have other nations watching our, news. When they hear our stories, they build this idea of how our people are. So no wonder you have people or Oriental people coming in the hood buying up land, having stores. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, what? All the hair stores, all the corner stores, like the liquor stores. We don't own none of that. We own none of that. They don't know. They really don't respect our people in our own neighborhoods. You feel me? So the way they produce their stories has a direct effect to us. You know what I mean? It builds our reputation. Like the Art of War says, man, Art of War, 48 laws of power, protect your reputation. Protect your reputation, man. So I feel like this CNN situation is protecting our reputation. You cross this line, yeah, we gonna test something up. And it's certain cycles that we didn't had already. So okay, you go back in the day, Marcus Garvey and that movement. Um, then you got the civil rights movement. But Black Panthers. So we've had certain cycles where we keep coming back to this point. Hmm. The bigger question is, are we ever going to get out the cycle? So I was asked this question earlier. Old timer, he asked me, he was like, what do you go for the most? Integration or segregation? And we was having a long conversation. He was asking me that because he was trying to figure out if we would be stronger acting as our own entity, like our own nation, or would we be stronger amongst everybody as a collective group, right? So we spoke about that, and we're talking about we're gonna have to take out those that are really cancerous to the new nation. You have to create a new political system, a new government, everything. Everybody else that's not with it, either you're a threat or conflict of interest to us, right? So we gotta eliminate you. He was like, yeah, if we start doing that, they'll outgun us. They'll outnumber us. We are 1/3 of the national population, if that. You know, Majority of this population is Caucasian. So we can't really sit and say that we can gun up with them and start taking out them like they're taking us out. You know, when I really get down into it, man, the only really way to work your way through it is to hide the head of the snake. It's a war tactic, saying if you hide your leaders, no one can ever figure them out. They can't target them. We can't kill them, so we can't stop you. But, yeah, I challenge everybody just to stay involved. I don't care if you're young, old, if you're white, black, I don't care, Spanish, be involved because it's not about just the black community right now. It's not about that. It's bigger than us right now. We do have problems that have been continuing that need to stop. But it's about coming together as a human race to correct right and wrong. Because right now, as we look out, we see white brothers and sisters on the front lines. I'm talking about the front lines of this pandemic and these protests. And we have black brothers and sisters, Hispanic, Latino, everybody in between. You feel me? So we're all working together to deal with our issues. I can't sit here and say that black people are the only people getting killed in the streets because we're not. By police, we're not. You feel me? I can't say that it's only white police officers doing this dirt. It's not. It's not. You got black police officers. In my experience, I have had worse experiences with black police officers compared to white police officers. I don't know what it is. It may just be ego. I don't know what it is. Even with the racist white police officers. You feel me? Like, we just gotta balance it out. It's good on this side and it's bad on this side. You know, so we gotta just keep it G, yo. We gotta keep it G and keep pressing forward. Keep pressing forward. You know, stay safe, stay protected, cause this COVID stuff is not over. It's not. Those numbers are still high as anything. I work in a hospital. I'm telling you, and it's not a pretty sight. So amongst y'all protesting, still keep the mask on. Put a ski mask on. Put two. I don't care. You feel me? Like protect yourself, so you don't bring that back to your family. And then you got protest and a sick family. You feel me? So we just gotta pick our battles. Balance out the heart with the mind. You must be as calculated as you are emotionally intelligent. All right, listen to your heart, but balance it out with the calculations of the mind. That's the one thing that's pushing me through now.
What do you
Shoot.
think about that blackout day that they talking about, July 6th?
Blackout day.
They said like $10 billion if no black people spend a dollar. $10 billion, bro. $10 billion, bro.
I believe it though.
I
You
was
gotta
like,
think about
yeah,
it. You gotta think
bro.
about it. Black people spend that
Yes.
duffel, bro.
And
do.
for dumb shit.
The dumbest shit on earth.
We do.
The trickers.
We do. We got in pandemic. They buying brand new cars. I'm feeling like
Clothes. I know.